Hello, everyone. Ron here from L.T.L Tutoring Central. And today I'm going to be talking about the thesis statement for essay writing. It's an interesting topic because a lot of people have a difficult time writing essays. They're afraid of essays almost. I have some students who are panicked when the teacher says they have to write an essay. So I thought I'd just give you a few tips for the thesis statement because it is arguably the most important part of your entire essay. I say arguably because there's always important. The other parts are also important. So you kind of need everything to go together. But the thesis statement holds a special place because it is usually one sentence that encapsulates the entire essay, or at least it should. And so that's why it is such an important part of your essay. So it's a good idea to understand how to arrive at a solid thesis statement and the importance of having that before you start writing the essay. But there's a few points I want to make in that regard because you don't have to have a finished perfect thesis statement before you begin. So let's get a handle on your thesis statement. So you've been given a topic or you've come up with a topic. Sometimes you're given one, sometimes you come up with a topic on your own. Then you have to do some research. And this might be formal research where you're actually looking for quotations or statistics or other data that you're going to use within your essay to support your thesis statement, but also your claims. You should do this before you come up with any kind of a thesis statement. The only time you wouldn't is if a teacher or professor gives you a thesis statement and says you have to write an essay on this thesis statement, and that's a different situation. Most of the time, that's not the case, though. Once you have done some of your research, oh, and I should mention, so that's the formal research. The informal research would be more for personal essays in which you're often just writing from your own experiences and your own knowledge base. But you should still do a kind of research for that as well. In other words, you need to jot down your ideas and your thoughts on that particular topic because that will help you to organize them. Just writing off the top of your head is not generally a great idea. So you want to uh, research your own mind and get it on paper or get it on the computer screen so that you can organize those thoughts. And then you can arrive at a rough working thesis. And I call it a rough working thesis because it's going to change probably a couple of times as you move forward, at least. So, your rough working thesis gives you a bit of an idea in general, in broad scope. Then you want to think of three major supports. So you have this sort of rough working thesis. I think this is what I want to talk about. Um, and then you're going to come up with three major supports for that could support that rough thesis. Then, once you're satisfied with that, you can come up with your working thesis. I'm still calling it a working thesis, but it's no longer a rough working thesis. This one is much cleaner. It might even be the final thesis, but for now we call it the working thesis because you're going to use it to start writing the essay. You use the three major supports you have, you abbreviate them and include them, or at least parts of them, in your working thesis so that you have at least three major or main supports that you're going to work with throughout the essays. These will develop into your topic sentences for your three body paragraphs. Now, I'm talking about a 5-paragraph essay that they often teach at secondary school here in Ontario. Essays can have many more paragraphs than that, but the idea remains the same. For any major body paragraph, you should try to develop a topic sentence. It could be a working topic sentence. Again, it could change as you write the paragraph. But for now, let's just focus on these three main points that are going to support your thesis statement and support your essay as a whole. And these turn into your topic sentences. Then, after writing the body, you can readdress the thesis statement, have another look back, and see does it really act kind of as an umbrella for the entire essay? Is there a sufficient amount of information for the reader to understand where you're going. What is your argument and where are you going within the essay? You might just have to change it a little bit. It's unlikely you'll have to change the entire thesis statement unless something went wrong earlier on in the process, but you may need to tweak it or change it just a little bit. The reason I say that is because as you're writing the essay, you often learn more about the topic because we learn things by listening and reading and researching. But when we start writing, we learn even more. And some of the ideas that we thought we were solid on can change throughout the writing process. You also want to think of counter arguments and counterpoints. And then within your essay, you address those to try to make sure that you've covered every angle. And this also can change a little bit your thoughts on the thesis statement as you're writing. Your final thesis statement should have the following attributes. They should be it should be specific. It should express one main idea. It should assert your position. You want to make sure that you're saying something. Sometimes people, if they, sometimes they don't even have a thesis statement in their essay, but sometimes when they do have one, it's a bit wishy-washy. In other words, it doesn't assert a claim or your position. What do you believe or what do you think is true about what you're going to say in this paper? And then support that. We don't want to say sometimes, maybe, once in a while. We don't want that kind of thing. We want a good, solid claim. And as I say, there might be occasions when whatever you're claiming is not true. You can address that throughout the essay and then show why that main thesis statement of yours is still correct, even though there may be exceptions. Take a stand on a particular subject that's related and provoke further discussion. So often an essay is intended to sort of um, encourage the reader to think further, to think more about a particular subject or topic. That varies considerably depending on what kind of thesis or sorry, what kind of essay it is. But often it is going to provoke further discussion. So that's just a few pointers on writing your thesis statement. Normally, in the sort of 5 paragraph idea that I'm talking about, and this can work for other essay styles as well, your thesis statement will come at the end or near the end of your introductory paragraph, your first paragraph, usually. Um, there are a lot of different models for essay writing. At the college university level, you're often writing much longer essays. It's not going to be a 5 paragraph essay per se. However, the ideas are basically the same. You still want to make sure that for your main points, you have a topic sentence that supports it. You may have paragraphs in between that are transition paragraphs or further explain the same point. So that would extend the number of paragraphs you have, but really the idea is still the same. All right, it is Ron Johnson from L.T.L Tutoring Central. I hope that was interesting for you and will help you out. Check out the blog. There's information there, and there's an example there as well of working through some of these points. If you're wondering, the table behind me, this is where I teach in-person students who come for tutoring. So in different videos, you'll see files and papers moving up and down the table, uh, not while I'm talking, but at different points. And that's why, because I'm always working, and whenever I have the opportunity, I come over to make my video. Okay, in the meantime, keep learning and keep having fun. Until next time, bye-bye for now.